I was like in like 4 or 5 different bands with like the same people over like a 4 or 5 year time span when we first started, like sophomore year in high school, you know what I mean? Like we were practicing in the auditorium and using like the school drum set in order to like practice with the band. And it was crazy because everybody was like, what is that noise? And it's like me screaming my heart out in the school auditorium, you know? But yeah, a lot of bands, a lot of people using drugs, so a lot of like drug abuse led to a lot of bands breaking up and friendships and bridges being burnt and stuff like that. And it turned out that we ended up making For Those Who Doubt, and For Those Who Doubt was they're still going, it's a great band. Fred is the writer and the guitarist, and I ended up going through like a couple years of drug abuse, and that was like led to me like having to go to rehab. And when I went to rehab, I took a break from the band. The band kind of like just decided to move on without me, you know, which was like reasonable. You know, I was using drugs. I would have moved on. I would have done the same exact thing. But I came back and I was really bitter. So I wrote a lot of music, and I focused all that emotion and feelings into like writing music. And for like 5 years, I just sat there and baked on this like emotional like things that I had written down and like made in my head and constructed slowly. And then eventually I lost an important person in my life, and it led to like a breakthrough. Like I broke through the wall, and I was just like, I gotta do it. I gotta release this music now. If I don't do it, I'm just gonna like be nobody, you know? I'm gonna be mad at myself forever.
I have been involved in music for a really long time, and I think I still remember the first day that I decided I wanted to be in music was going to the Red House in Walnut Creek, California, and I saw a band, I cannot remember their name off the life of me. Oh, we're gonna have to edit that. What is the fucking Tetragrammatron? And they were like a weird dubstep, like they had like electronic keys and like heavy guitar, and there was 2 vocalists, a singer and a screamer, and it was the first time I like really saw that live, and their energy like blew my mind. And I remember wanting to be part of that and not having like any music experience. So I remember reaching out to some of the members, seeing if they had side projects, and they never hit me back up. And obviously I didn't have like a rep or anything to go off of. So I remember the first band I ever started was called the Emo Boys, where it was a bunch of friends of mine. I literally have never screamed or sang in my life, but I was like so in love with that sound. I was really into the Used and like Burt McCracken just like ripping his vocal cords. So I remember the first time I ever tried to do vocals, I screamed, and everybody in the room like stopped playing and started fucking laughing. And I wasn't embarrassed, it was funny, but it was like, yo, that like felt really good.
You know, the best artists and musicians in the world, you always find a way to get stuck. And you need that, like, it's kind of like the yin and the yang, you know, like light can't exist without the dark kind of thing, you know what I mean? He's super energetic and I'm more like in my head kind of thing, but it evens us out. So like I get off his energy and he calms down a little bit.
So it was like, yo, this could be someone that I can, you know, not as much teach and mentor, but someone that can learn off of the things I have and I can learn off of him. So he showed me these songs that he written. He recorded a song called Unforgiven, which was really sick. And then he showed me all these instrumentals, and I was like, yo, this is like what I needed, because I didn't want to start something from scratch. I wanted to build something off of like an instrumental already. Like I have the voice, so now I just need to find the pieces. So he sent me a couple of these songs and lyrics that he wrote, and his lyrics were really good, and they were like right in the alley that I wanted. But I felt like I was really good at structure, so I made a deal with him that, you know, I'll do this and I'll step out in the limelight and I'll put all my effort into it. Let me take a little control of composing and like setting up timing and the feeling of it while using your lyrics and, you know, you changing stuff as I go. But let me like just take lead for like just these first few songs, because I've done it so much and I know I have like the writing skills to get us there.
On the Floor is really about like this person that passed in my life, and how it affected my life.
That was the time where I was like, all right, now we need to start coming out of the shadows a little bit. Now we need to start belting and writing some really big parts. So I started writing some higher notes for myself, some louder belts. I started giving Josh some of these like really intricate vocal lines and really tell a story and make people not only like read into the lyrics and be like, yo, I can relate to this, but be like, oh, that like hit me in a way.
I wrote a few lines and I couldn't figure out how to put them together, so I sent them to Lloyd, and Lloyd used those lines in reference and wrote on the floor. So it was like I wrote a mini story and he took the mini story and turned it into like a full-blown like song, you know what I mean?
On the floor I tried to aim it around struggling with someone that you care about, a relationship, family member, best friend, colleague, whatever it could be. But you know, we fight with the people that we care about and have fights, and you know, eventually it can get to a point where it's just not going to happen anymore, to where the next time you wake up and you try to like text them or call them or have a conversation, they don't want to have it anymore because you guys have like just like drawn out so much energy. So you're, you know, on the floor was literally to the point where you're getting on the floor defeated. And Josh could relate to that heavy, I could relate to that heavy. So our stories within the song are different, but they all will circle back to like the same starting point of like what it's gonna do to you. So someone can lose a loved one and be on the floor defeated. Someone could have a relationship end badly and still feel that. And no, they're not the same. One's heavier than the other, but they all still like coexist in there. And I think that's where I try to focus the most of the writing, is to just relive that.